Okay, dear friends, I want to welcome you for this meetup. We want to thank you for sparing time and being part of this. Thank you so much for supporting ICT Teachers Association of Uganda. And thank you for being patient teachers in that regard. Here we are still proceeding with our topic. We are still exploring and new curriculum. So this is our day 7, where I'm going to talk about assessment grade and reporting learner achievement, as you can see on your screen. My name, in the interest of time, my name is Mutiaba Daniel. Mutiaba Daniel, I'm a teacher. Okay, I'm a teacher of ICT. I teach business, teacher of ICT. I've taught since 2012. I teach ICT, I teach economics, entrepreneurship. So I've taught ICT for the last 9 years. It's now 9 years. I'm sure I have experience to share with you. So I've been teaching from Hilton High School, Mukono. I also work as a teaching assistant at Kyambogo University. I teach still ICT related courses like business information system, business computing, and the accounting courses like accounting, auditing, and others. Okay, I'm a master trainer, a new curriculum master trainer, NCDC, that has participated in so many trainings by NCDC, and I've also been involved in so many trainings, training other teachers in various locations of the country, in various parts of the country. I'm so honored today to meet you. Still, I'm the author of syllabus-based subsidiary ICT books and the subsidiary syllabus-based computer studies books, both practical and theory. So that's my phone number. I want to thank you for, giving us audience and giving this arrangement utmost diligence and care, sparing your time, your precious resources to be part of it. So as I'm proceeding, the session outcomes. One, by the end of this session, participants should be able to understand the features of evaluation grid, construct an evaluation grid based on a topic of a particular subject. I guess from the previous interaction, the time we last interacted here, we gave you an assignment about a given topic that I believe that you have taken time to explore. And I believe you have something at least at hand. So now let me open up the discussion here. Since this is the new curriculum, we try to show so much that is coming from the students' response or the knowledge from the students. So now you are my learners. Just accept me. I know in your respective capacity, I respect and recognize. However, just accept me to use you as my learners today. Can you interact with me and tell me something about evaluation grid? Can you tell me something about evaluation grid? Yes. Can someone tell me something about evaluation grid?
Members, you put up your hand.
You can put up your hand and you let me know about. Now, this is the activity, the features of evaluation grid. Oh, according to you, what's an evaluation grid? You raised up your hand and you interact with us. Oh. Mr. Watoni Wanyoto, Mr. Jeremy, can you interact with me? Aisha, Dennis.
Maybe we can ask them. Okay,
Yes.
I think I see a hand here.
Okay,
Katusime.
Okay. Jackson, please go ahead.
Let me try. I'm Katusime Jackson Masindi. An evaluation grid is what is to be followed when you are looking at the end of chapter assessment. Say following what we normally term as rest. So what you're going to follow while marking that end of chapter assessment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackson. Thank you so much. Jackson is telling us that evaluation grid is what you follow while you are marking that end of chapter assessment. Thank you so much. I guess you have a point. Then Mr. Lutwama. Mr. Lutwama. Simon.
Yes. End of chapter assessment.
Yes, I'm saying. Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm saying the evaluation grid, it's a set of guidelines that are followed when marking or assessing learners.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So what you follow while marking your learners. Okay, thank you so much. I want to appreciate Jackson and Simon for the two submissions. Now, evaluation grid is equivalent to the marking guide of the previous curriculum. The marking guide. You know, when you set a paper from the previous curriculum, you ought to, as a professional teacher, you ought to come up with a marking guide. So this is in the same line with the marking guide. So evaluation grid is what you follow while marking the end of chapter assessment or activity in that regard. So that is an evaluation grid. Can we discuss some of the features of an evaluation grid? Because, guys, dear friends, this is just a reminder. I know we have had an encounter on this. We have interacted with NCDC about this. We have interacted with the friends. We have heard of an evaluation grid before. So can we discuss, can we remind ourselves on some of the components of an evaluation grid? Can we use some 3 minutes and we work out this activity? 3 minutes. Get a paper and you jot down some features or components of an evaluation grid, and then you can explain to us what each of the component entails. Just 3 minutes in the interest of time.
You can also use the chat.
Yes, you can use the chat. Thank you. Yes, Simon, your hand is up. Go ahead. Simon. Simon. I'm waiting for your responses, dear friends.
Maybe Mr. Mutiaba.
Yes, yes.
You told us that the evaluation grid here is similar to the marking guide, the other side. let some members tell us what are the features of a marking guide they used to make in the old curriculum. What are some of the things they used to, which were components of a marking guide in the old curriculum? Maybe since it seems they don't remember, they are not sure of the evaluation grid. We can start from known to unknown.
Okay, yeah.
Anyone
Right.
who is willing to tell us some of the things which were available in the marking guide?
Yes. Yes, Simon.
Yes, let me talk about maybe the new curriculum.
Yes.
It has components like the coherence. We have.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Am I
Go
on?
ahead.
We have the coherence, we have the relevance.
Thank you.
That's what I can recall.
Coherence.
That's what I can recall.
Thank you so much, Simon. You have talked of coherence, relevancy. Thank you so much. We have also got guidance from Mr. Mokaleli. Can you, if you at all you can't remember the evaluation grid, can you tell us some features of a marking guide, like the previous marking guide that you have been using? Can you tell us some features of the marking guide? But what must you have on the marking guide? Okay, Honorable Katusime. Mr. Katusime? Your hand was up. All right. Okay. Members, we can proceed. You remember our marking guides? Eh? You could have a question, and then you could have the basis. Okay. Yes, Jackson, you're raising up your hand again.
I'm sorry, you had muted me. I failed to unmute. If I can recall, I'm a teacher of mathematics.
Yes.
Our marking guide would have some columns, the serial number, then the solution to the equation. And the second column would have the mark, the third column, and then would have a remark at the end. But in the new curriculum, what we have been taught is you would start with the output as the first column. Then you go to the basis. The basis, which will have several components there, which I can't recall then. On the other side, you'd have the rest. Relevance, accuracy, excellency. C is what? I can't recall what C is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jackson. Thank you for the submission. Exactly. That's what we used to have on the marking guide. And that is what exactly, like the way I've said, what we have on the new evaluation grid. On the new evaluation grid, dear friends, we have come to proceed here. Sorry. If I'm to proceed, new evaluation grid, I mean the evaluation grid, we have the output, because remember from what we have covered so far, we are engaging our learners, and at the end of the day, we are expecting an output. That's why it is called the competence-based. A learner should have exhibited the skill, the knowledge, the cursiva, you remember, by producing out an output. Now, with that output is what you base on. That is now the output. We have a column for output, as you're going to see at that stage. That out, so you base on that output, and then you assess or you evaluate the learner based on what you expected the learner to exhibit. Are we together? So we have the output, then the basis of evaluation, the basis. What do you base on? Yes, you're looking at the ball, but what are the things that you must see on a ball? You're looking at a doll. What are the things that you must be there on a doll? You're looking at a car, maybe a car diagram. What are the things that you expect from the car diagram? That is the basis of evaluation. Then from there, after the basis, then you've got to gauge these learners. Now, what you expect, you subject it to the dress. That is relevance, okay, accuracy, coherence, and excellency. So now let us proceed a bit. Sample activity of integration. Let us use this word processing later. Members, you remember the word processing later. The topic was the topic competence was the learner uses the word processing software to create, edit, and print documents. Remember the word processing as a topic is looking at equipping learners with the skills to be able to create the document, to edit that document, okay, to format that document, and print out copies of that document. That is at the end of that topic. That is now the competency that is expected. Now the scenario. You can see. Let us read that scenario. Can I get Jeremy? Mr. Jeremy, can you read for us the scenario? Jeremy, sir.
Okay. Your class is planning an end-of-year party scheduled for 21st November this year. It will take place in the main hall starting at 8:30 a.m.
Thank you, sir.
You're
May
welcome,
I get
sir.
thank you so much. May I get who? Mr. Sendegeya to read for us the task, and we do this task.
Okay,
Mr.
thank you so
Sendegeya?
much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. The task word process a letter inviting the head teacher and members of staff to the party.
Okay. Thank you so much. From the previous topic that we had, the previous discussion, we learned, as Mr. Mkai was taking us through this, we learned how to generate an activity of integration. And remember, I'm just reminding you that the activity of integration must encompass all the learning all the learning outcomes. It must be a suitcase that contains all the learning outcomes. In that, once the learner executes such an activity or a task, must be able to bring out all the expected learning out, all the expected skills that summarizes the entire topic. So now this is a task that is taxing the learner to come up with an invitation letter to invite the teacher and the members of staff to the party. Remember, what we are targeting is creating, editing, and printing documents from the learner, and that is the task. Now, we want to base on this activity of integration, because this one, of course, today we are not discussing an activity of integration. We are discussing the evaluation grid. Now we are going to base on that, and then we come up to this. Now let us take time and analyze this later. You have seen it before, it is true. But let us take time and we analyze it and internalize it. Now, this is the learner that brings out this possible response or output. Okay. Now you look at this later. It is true the learner has brought out something. This is now the output. Because remember, in our curriculum here, the learner should be in position to bring out the output or to produce an output at the end of the day. So this is the output that we are seeing. Sincerely speaking, we have tasked the learner to produce a letter, and that is the letter. Are we together? And now we are going to base on what we expect to analyze this, and then we gauge and we evaluate the learner. Members, let me ask you a question. If it were you, how out of 10, how many would you give to this learner in the old curriculum? If you were the teacher who tasked the learner to produce a letter, how many would you give to such a learner. Just be sincere to yourself, because this curriculum is about sincerity and honesty.
Thank you, Mr. Saddam has put up his hand.
Yes, yes.
Hello, mister.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Den.
I had raised my hand, but already you had muted me. So my question was answered. What I was trying to raise is like I wanted to give you the component of evaluation grid, but the question is already answered. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay. Any other? I want a response from any sincere teacher. Out of 10, if you were a teacher, maybe let me ask Teacher Helen. Okay, Mr. Sendege has raised up his hand. Please, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, I would award 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. Thank you so much. Why? Give us a reason.
The reason that actually the learner is trying to show that it is supposed to be an official letter, but once you look at the 2 addresses, you may find that the addresses are not so proper. So each address I would give half. Then a date, you may find that the date you would not consider it so much, however much we need a current date. But if a learner is not aware of that, at least you would award for the date. Also the reason why the letter was written. Even dear sir, you may find that it is not in a proper position, but as a learner, you can as well award. Also, when you look at the body, there is some information as regards to the body. So you can as well give a mark as regards to the body. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sendege. Thank you. Let me get a response from a lady, just a lady, Aisha. Just to tell us how much would you give this learner? Aisha.
Aisha, the microphone is disabled. You can
oh,
choose another.
It is disabled. Oh, I want a lady. Edith. Madam Edith. Madam Edith, can you hear me? Either Madam Edith or Madam Sarah. Ladies, just fear to speak.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you, teacher. But me, I think I would give a 2.
Mr.
You're too mean. Yes.
These teachers, are they having a criteria they are using, or they are just guessing marks?
You don't know, all the curriculum, teacher would even based on the instincts. And even, okay, this teacher can give a 2 and goes ahead even to invite the learner for a punishment. Give a 2 out of 10 and say, see me. Okay, so thank you so much, Madam Edith, Madam Sarah. So that is the old curriculum. Now, with the new curriculum, dear friends, you must set up something and you must have a basis. That's why we are saying that you cannot give a 0 to a learner, because there must be a basis, various bases that you base on to award this learner. Let us go to another page, next page, our next page here. Okay. 1, using the sample activity of integration, activity 1 above, task, state the output of the activity of integration. Develop the key concepts to be assessed in the output. Share your findings. Now you have looked at that later. Let me also clarify on this. Depending on a subject, depending on your subject, if you task the learners to produce a data, depending on your subject, it's going to make you vary, or the basis of evaluation may vary depending on your subject. For example, who's teaching ICT, I may look at my basis in a different angle. And someone who's teaching English, he may look at the basis in the different angle. Because remember, all of us, our learning outcomes may not be the same at some point. The one who's teaching geography may look at it, may look at the basis in a given perspective, and they may divide a bit. So now, state the output of the activity of integration. From the previous teacher that gave us a response, Mr. Dembe? No, Mr. Sendegeya. Mr. Sendegeya said, based on what I see, the salutation is the other side. Let us go back to our letter here. I'm going to use his response to make us move forward. He said the salutation was not good. It was not in a proper position, meaning for him, he had a salutation, his letter, based on the assessment grid, based on what he is taxing the learners to produce out. The salutation is not supposed to be in that position, as a matter of fact. And he has told us that at the date, according to the YEC, even if we want a date, but the learner should be in position to produce out the right date. And that is what he's basing on. Then someone would say, you look at the affection or the kind regards. They are in the different, actually in the wrong position, you know. So the basis you must have, the point is you must have the basis of evaluation. Let me take you back to this. Yes, the sample, the output, I guess members, as you are coming up with the activities of integration, you must have the basis. And during the physical training, we ever guide teachers to really look at the learning outcomes from the syllabus. And those learning outcomes are also depicted in the learner's book and also teacher's guide. Learners, yes, teacher's guide, yes. They are depicted. So those are, at the end of the day, the learning outcomes may become the basis or the basis for evaluation. So now you must bring out, you must be clear, your basis of evaluation, dear ladies and gentlemen, should be clear. Please, this one we should take note of it, should be clear. Not based on instincts, not based on intuition, not based on, emotions to mark the learners. This is the new curriculum. The basis should be clear. The learning outcomes should be clear. Then develop the key concept to be assessed in an outcome. The key concepts, of course, this is what we mean. The key concepts. For example, I'm looking at the format of the letter. Should be, the learner should produce out a letter that has the right format. Those are the key concepts. The date should be this side, the dot should be right, the salutation should be here, the body should be like this. Those are the key concepts that you're going to look at. Now, let me take you to some other, okay, you should also note this. Let me request I want everyone to be engaged here. Mr. Samuel Okolong, are you ready for us the information in the red box? Okolong, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can.
Yes, yeah.
I will request you to first remove your image around that. That video.
Okay.
You take it the other side.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yes, I'm waiting. No, not yet. That screen is covering that part of that message.
Just drag it and put it on from the side.
First stop his video. I think you could be able to see it. Or you can drag. Are you able to see now?
But the work is readable. Mister, you can read.
Okay, let me request the Minister Rutuama to read for us that information. Mr. Rutuama, can you hear us?
Should I read?
Mr. Twama? Okay, Mr. Cage.
Yes, please.
Yes, read for us that information in the in red. Is it red?
I try to read it.
Yes, you read it. Don't just try, but read it.
Okay, it reads.
Yes.
Various examples of outputs. You can ask a learner to produce a letter, written speech, interview, advice, report, questionnaire, article, painting, drawing, map, poem, prayer, song, write-up, typed document. That is, for example, in ICT, presentation, email, recording, video, computation, stroke calculation, or a graph, and the other.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Members, take note of that. We have heard of so many questions. We have got so many questions from the physical trainings, from various teachers, asking us the various forms or formats or examples of output that at the end of the day, that at the end of the topic that it should produce out. This is what we want to emphasize as ICT teachers. We are saying that you can task the learners to produce a letter. It can be a written speech. Like the way you see it, note it. It can be an interview. It can be advice, can be a report, a questionnaire, it can be a painting, a drawing, a map, a poem, prayer, song, write-up, typed document in ICT. It can be a recording. For example, those who are teaching music, art, and drama, you can task the students to go and produce out, and they come out with a recording of a song. That is an output. Now, if you are to proceed here, I wanted to put some emphasis here. The key message: it is important that for each output there are clear concepts that will be considered for assessment. Members, there should be, or you should have clear, you should indicate clear concepts. Please, that one, take note of it. You should have clear concepts that you should look at the end of the day, you're going to base on, and you mark. This is what we call the basis or the basis for evaluation. What you base on. The concepts that you are talking about are the skills. Those are the concepts that are going to bring out the skills, or they are the concepts that learners are going to base on to exhibit the skills, which you want to test from them. Those are the key concepts that they should be clear. Let me show you an example here. Look what this is the format of the evaluation grid. The output, that is the expected deliverable from the learner in line with the competency. Members, this one, take note of it. It should be in line with the competency. The other competence, the main competency, not the competency, but the competence with why, the major aim, like I can call it an aim, the major aim. Then the basis for evaluation, those are the key to be assessed on the output. For example, if we go back to our letter, we can say for us, we are looking at the format. As English teachers, we are going to look at the format of the letter, because every learner is going to produce out a letter at the end of the day. But what you're going to base on first is the format. You may look at the format. Then now you bring in the aspect of the race as you know it. The race, that is the race. Relevancy, accuracy, coherency, and excellency. We shall look at it as we shall be assessing the other later. Then at the end of the day, for each for each of these, for each of the race, should do or describe the learner's achievement at the 3 levels. There should be at 3 levels. What do I mean? Levels, the 3 levels, the levels 1, basic, modulate, and what? Yes? Sorry? Okay. Members, let us have this. Of course, we are not going to do this now, but let us have an insight from here. We are saying that activity 3, in your groups using the activity of integration you developed in sessions. You remember we assigned you this session previously. The session to do, we assigned you this activity. You developed, because last time we gave you that assignment. Refine the expected output and its basis of evaluation. Okay. For each basis of evaluation, use 3 levels of achievement. Describe the expected attainment of the learners, for relevancy, accuracy, coherency. Describe what is expected of the learners to attain the excellence. Present your findings. Let me request us to do this activity together in the interest of time. Is it okay? Or I give you some few minutes and you do it?
Mr. Mutiaba?
Yes, sir.
Actually, we had requested the teachers. To let me try to share here something here as you plan to come back and harmonize with us that activity. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, we can see
it. So we have been having this training for the last 5 days. So we have been giving teachers assignments ahead. When we know we are going to look at activity of integration, we give you the assignment ahead. So the last time we asked the teachers to create activity of integration, and I saw actually one teacher who has submitted. And also there is a time when we had I think it was day 2 where we told teachers to go and prepare a PowerPoint, to prepare a lesson. And still I've been seeing a number of teachers who have been submitting. Yeah, so what we do, what you are going to do, because there is some of this work, I'm going to, tomorrow when we are winding up, we are going to be looking at some of the work that the teachers here have been creating, and we are going to be asking them to do some demo lessons. But for now, because of time, we cannot create that activity, that grid within this time on Zoom. Yeah, so what we do, let us just take us through what we are having there, then we shall be giving them an activity after for them to try out.
Okay.
After we have finished the Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to chip in. Yeah, you can share your screen.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, teachers who have labored to, execute those activities. That is so great. We are proud of you. Please, the more you engage yourself in this, the more you learn more. The more you become a star, the more you become a master. Of course, so it's not all about being a master, but it is good also to be equipped before you go to some of these classes. Thank you so much. So now let us work it out together here. Okay. So now look what, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, our evaluation grid from, if I'm to take you back to activity 2, remember our activity was tasking the learners to produce a word processed letter. And that is the output that we expect. Now that was a letter. If your output was an audio, then here the output would be audio. If it was a video, it would have been a video, which you asked or you tasked learners to create. If it was a drawing, the output would have been a drawing. Now, now going back to what we have at hand, the basis of evaluation. First of all, our basis of evaluation here is going to be the message. So we shall look at the message. And remember from our evaluation grid, if I'm to take you back here, I said that for each, describe the learner's achievement at the 3 levels. This is what we mean. Okay? That for each, for example, for each base, for example, our first base is the message. Now, we subject it to all the levels. For example, accuracy. I mean, relevance. And we are saying that that message, if the learner communicates the relevant message with the following elements. Now, those are the key concepts that we talked about, that your key concepts from the message that we gave you here, if you can remember, we gave you a message here. This one. We said that this is what we call the basis. I mean, we said up there that it is important that for each out there are clear concepts that will be considered for assessment. And this is what we mean, taking you back to what we have at hand here. Let us try to digest this and we understand it, all of us together. This is what we mean. That we are looking at this, now look at box number 1, criteria number 1, that is relevancy. And I'm saying that where there is score 3, if the learner communicates the relevant message with the following elements: purpose, time, date, venue, address. Now, those are the things that you're looking at under message. They are very clear. And that still should be subjected to this grid in 3 ways, at 3 levels. Relevancy in 3 levels. Which level? Score 2, score 3, score 1. Now, the learner will score 3 if he or she brings out all the features, expected features. Now, still in the same column of relevancy, the learner will communicate if the learner communicates a relevant message with the following elements: purpose, time, date, venue, address. At least 3 to 4. Then you gauge 3 to 4. Like the way you used to do with a marking guide. You tell the learner, then you do gauge that this concept here I'm looking at producing out, I want 10 points of this. If the one who brings in 8 or 5, then you award accordingly. The same applies to this. Then we go to 1. If the learner brings out between 1, the same features between 1 to 2, then that one qualifies to get a 1, score 1. Then still the same yardsticks or bases or the concepts, the many concepts, you subject it to accuracy in the same way. Now, accuracy is going to look at the message with the clear purpose. The other one was looking at the key elements, but now here you must look at the clarity. You must look at the clarity. You must look at the element of accuracy in it. Are they accurate? If we talk of the date, is the date accurate? If we talk of the purpose, is the purpose, does it serve the purpose? And that's the accuracy. We talk of the venue, is it the right venue? If we talk of the addresser's address or addresses address or the addresses, are they accurate? Are they proper? I mean, are they accurate? So now you keep on gauging that. If you have 5 components, you measure their accuracy at that level. If all of them are accurate, if the learner 3, then if they are not accurate, maybe some are missing between 3 to 4, 2. When they are between 1 to 2, they are accurate 2. I mean, you give 1. Then you go to coherence. Now, coherence looks at the logical flow. The logical flow of the message. The logical flow. I'm sorry, I said something, I mentioned something to do with the clarity under accuracy. No, it's not clarity. Clarity is under coherence. The other one is looking at the degree of accurateness or correctness. Thank you so much. So now the logical flow and the clarity, you look at it at now at this level, then now you gauge. The addresser's address should come first and should be on the right or should be on the left. Is it on the left? Then you go back and check on the learner's work. Now there you're checking on the logical flow. You said date comes first before the salutation. Is it what the learner has done? Then you check. You saw salutation or comes before this. Then you're checking at the logical flow of the ideas. Now you keep on checking. Are all of them clear? Are they logically arranged? Yes. Are they two? If they are two, then this learner qualifies to get 1. Are they between 2 and 3? I mean 3 and 4. This learner qualifies to get 2. Just like that, dear friends. Then I'll also, since this activity here is asking us to describe what is expected of a learner to attain excellency, I'll also talk about it here. And I'm saying that the learner will obtain accuracy only if the learner has added any exceptional response unsolicited in the instruction. I remember during our training, the first year I gave us an example. If you had a vehicle and it gets a mechanical issue, then you take it to the mechanic. Then he services it, he rectifies the stuff, and then at the end of the day, after finishing it, he goes ahead and takes it to the washing bay and he cleans it. Remember what you gave him, and your argument was not him to service it or to rectify it and also takes it to the washing bay. The argument was finish up my vehicle, it has fixed the mechanical problem, and then bring back my vehicle. But at the end of the day, the member goes ahead even to clean your vehicle. That is an exceptional skill exhibited. It is unsolicited for. And remember, some of us may confuse some of this, especially this mark here of excellence. It may not even be part of that. Part of what you actually, it should not even be part of what you expected. It should be something very exceptional. You look at it and you also feel you're very, very, very happy about this. Can someone, let me just ask someone here to give us any exceptional response that we would expect from any of these learners. If at all this was our activity of integration here. May I request Mr. Wanyoto to give us what you do, something that you would say and you feel like, let me give out this mark with a lot of joy to this learner. Mr. Wanyoto. And the Madam, for purposes of, and Madam Mollis.
Sir, I beg your pardon.
Now, what I was asking you, that can you give us an example of any exceptional response that you can see from the learner? If at all, this is our activity of integration that has been subject to our learners. What are some of, give us one exceptional response that you would see and you feel like, let me give out this mark to this learner. Since I've said this, you may not be expecting it. You see it and you feel yeah, you can't be hesitant to give out this mark.
Like when thank you for the presentation, sir.
You're welcome.
So me when like I've given the data, like the data which is given there, like we give it to learners to formulate it. So the learner will put all things which I want. Then I will see there something like he has addressed even where he comes from in that very letter, and it is talking about what he does, which was not even in that letter. So when I see that letter is having things which I never expected, so I call it also an exceptional response from my learner. So it will be clear to everyone who is going to read it. It will show where he's coming from. It will show things which I never expected him to, which I never expected in my letter. So for him, he has put like the template. If we formulate a template for something, and he put that column where, which the column which cannot even, which people never expected. So that's what I mean by I will end my submission, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let me go to Madam Maurice to say something in that regard. Thank you so much, sir.
Hello, are you getting me?
Hey, it is a gentleman in Maurice's voice.
Yes,
Maurice,
that's the gentleman. It's Maurice.
Okay.
It's not Madam.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. For me, I think if it is, for example, later that you have given this learner to come up with certain features, formatting features you may not have mentioned, but this is a learner who has done English lessons and they know certain formatting letter should have. For instance, if a learner, for example, the addresses and maybe the reference and so forth, that the question might not have asked necessarily, but it goes ahead to format it so that the letter at the end of the day appears a little bit formal and corporate and organized. I will definitely have to consider that an extra, so it deserves an extra score, right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Maurice. Thank you so much. Sorry for mistaking your name. You know, I have a colleague here who's called Maurice and she's a lady. Sorry about that. Let me request, for purposes of gender balance, I'm so much gender sensitive. Let me also request Madam Narwanga to say something just in less than a minute before I proceed. Madam Narwanga. Oh, she can't hear me. Helen, are you there?
I am.
Yes. Say something.
Yeah. For example, if the letter was given to a senior one learner, I don't expect these learners to have a lot of idioms. So if the learner writes the grammar with idioms, I can give a mark of excellence. Though I'm not a teacher for English.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it.
Now, I guess members, you can try to pick the idea here from what our members our friends are submitting in. It is something that you don't expect. For purposes of, for Madam Helen, she's like, if I see an idiom in this letter, then I try to express it very well, grammatically used and properly arranged. It gives the exceptional mark. According to teacher, he said, for me, once I see that the learner has put in some background, Kaba Daniel, I'm coming from Katosi. Therefore, I'm requesting the teacher, please, you've been invited. I don't know what you meant that. For him, it's like, what we mean, something that you never expected from the learner, but something that you never expected from the learners, but it adds value to the activity. So the same applies to this. The best number 2 is use of ICTs. Now, since we extracted this activity from ICT, now here we shall have to expect now the ICT. If I'm picking ICT, now I would love to look at the elements of ICT besides a message. I'll look at how the learner has bolded. Has he been able to underline subscript and superscript, the uppercase and lowercase, then at different levels, the accuracy, I check the underline, they accurately, is it accurately done? The superscript, is it accurately done? The lowercase, is it accurately done? And then the coherency, you look at all these features of font size, underline, bold, in line with the coherency, and then at the end of the day, you are able to award accordingly. You may have an activity that has 2 bases. Another one can have 3 bases. Another one can have 4 bases, basing on what you are testing from the learners. I can give you an example here. An example.
Mr. Mutiaba.
Yes.
Let me try to explain to them this one.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because I actually gave them, we were doing actually this in the first, let me just share something here. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so we told them to do something to do with the plane when we were looking at criterion reference assessment. And we had a number of the members here. I realized there are some members who just attend and they don't do the activities, but there are those who do. So we shall be using those who do to explain.
Okay.
Yeah, so we told them to draw a plane. So let me ask one of the members. This is a plane which was submitted by one of the members through our Google Classroom. Mr. Gava Hilary. Mr. Gava. He's not hearing me.
Mr. Gava can't hear us. Oh, this is wonderful.
Mr. Okay, Madam Naluanga, are you hearing me?
Yes.
How many marks would you give this teacher who has submitted this plane out of 10?
Out of 10. Oh, this is just a draft, I think. So I would give him like 6. I would give him like 6.
Which basis have you looked at? Which angles are you looking at when you're looking at this plane? Are you looking at beautifulness? Are you looking at, what are you looking at?
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes.
So in consideration, when I look at this plane of this man, so it is like he used a ruler somewhere. I don't think these things should be straight. Somewhere he used a ruler to draw something. So I don't think he would have used the ruler.
Okay. So the learners were actually asked to draw and label any aircraft of their choice. And the question was requiring them also to label as well. And in the mind of the teacher, this was the expected output that would expect learners to make. So we have different planes. I could make a helicopter, I could make whichever, but at least there are some components that we would expect on that plane. So this is a sample evaluation grid that we have been trying to think of. If we were to assess this teacher using the new curriculum, we have to look at this plane. So here we are, how many bases of evaluation are we looking at?
We are looking.
Madam Naluanga.
The basis of evaluation, we have aircraft features and labeling. We have two.
Yeah. So when we are looking at this, so we have to have which criteria? We're looking at criterion reference assessment. Which criteria will I use when I'm marking? One, under relevance, we looked at if the drawing contains one or more of the features. If you look at the features here in this diagram, there are many. There are over 11. 1, 2, wing, propeller, spinner, engine. So there are quite many here. Yeah, so we were looking at if the teacher has, or if the learner has put at least 7 when they have been indicated. He has put there maybe the windows, the propeller, he has put at least 7 features, then that learner is at level 3, which is the level of the learner has achieved most of the expected features. Yeah. Then he scored 2 if the learner has put 3 to 6 features. And if the learner has put only a few, like 3 features, then is at level 1. That is less than 3. So if you look at this plane once again, so if we look at that, how many features do you think this one has put? Is at level which level? Level 3, level 2, level 1? I'm seeing the wings.
He has put
this one should be, I think, level 1.
Yeah, he is at level 1 for sure.
Hey, he's at level 1. So you can see here with the criteria reference, with this kind of thing, you have a clear guide. or if the learner has put a lot of features, is in level 3, then this one is score 2 if is in. Then when it comes to accuracy, we look at how they are correctly, whether they are correctly drawn. A learner may have put the wings. The learner may have put the wings, that is fine. So I score for putting the wings in terms of feature, but are they well drawn? So we look at accuracy of the wings now. We look at accuracy of the wings. So we look at, of those 7 features, here we just count the features. We say there's a propeller, there is this one, there are windows, there are this, but we give the mark here. A learner may get a 3 here, but he comes here and he gets a 1 because he may have put the features, but when they are not drawn them well. I get me when they are not accurate, they are not correctly drawn. Then of those features, how many are correctly drawn, and also of those features. So we look at the accuracy here as well. Then when it comes to coherence, in this case, we looked at coherence is to do with consistency, logical flow. If it was a letter, we would look at how the letter is flowing, but here we look at consistency. So in this case, I would look at consistency. For example, these wings. If the learner has put the wings are consistent. If she had drawn a wing here with the 4 of these white circles, and then he goes to if these white circles here, if the learner would, if the teacher he would put this, then inside he puts 5, then there would be no consistency. Yeah, but this one is consistent. So if there were windows being put, I would expect the windows to be of the same shape. If there are those features that are normally consistent when it comes to a plane. So I would expect the wings, like in this diagram, the design of the wings to be the same. I would expect this side, the rudder to be similar, the propeller, these things to be the same shape. So I would look at some consistency in the drawing in that case. So consistency would come under coherence. Okay, then labeling. For the labeling, I would also look at how many of the parts are labeled. You may have drawn 7. I gave here 7 marks, but only labeled 1. So here in labeling as another basis of evaluation. So I'm looking at this same drawing now when using another criteria. How many of these are labeled, and also are they labeled correctly? Here I looked at which ones have been identified. And then here I look at how they are, whether they are being labeled correctly. The labels are there, but maybe wrong spelling. You have called it propeller, you have called it propeller. Wrong spelling, so there's no accuracy in the label, but the label is there. So here for relevance, I give you the mark for labeling a propeller, but here under accuracy, I cross you for wrong spelling of propeller. Then when it comes to coherency, I would look at the neatness and consistent labels. If you are labeling, then you should be able to do correct matching and label correctly. Then as Mr. Mutiaba was saying, in terms of outstanding, the excellence mark is not supposed to be given for each of the bases. The excellence mark is supposed to be looked at once, even if there are 10 bases. We look at it once. And if, for example, this plane, the learner has even shaded, I never asked for shading. The learner has shaded, the learner has put maybe the label of the country, Uganda Airlines and all that. So I would give what I did expectation for that, which I never expected. Maybe Mr. Mchiaba also, before you come in and you wrap up with this, because I see our time has gone. Are you seeing my screen again? Yes. I'm sharing from, this is a CRE Teacher's Guide. Members, you will be able to find the sample assessment grids in the teacher's guides. Some prototypes have, others didn't have, but the books which are going to come out, the final books which are going to come out, they are going to have these ones when they are final. I've looked at the final books. I was among the people who went for vetting of the books. The final books are having. So this chapter of worship was teaching learners about worship, how people should remember God when they get into problems. And at the end of the chapter, there is this activity of integration, which we also looked at a bit. And it was talking about Wilson, a farmer with a coffee plantation and dairy farm, and he has been having good harvests, but suddenly some things went wrong. Heavy rains came, and his animals were killed, and that is the support material. Let me get someone to read for me the instructions quickly, and we are going to look at the grid. I'm trying to just save some time. So, Ms. Amtiawa, so when you come, we just wrap up this and we go to the second section because
Yes.
time. Okay, so let me get Edith. Edith, are you there? Okay, James. Okay, James.
Thank you.
Okay, Edith, go ahead.
Using your knowledge
Question
of
number
worship. Question number one, using your knowledge of worship, explaining what the farmer's reaction would be in relation to belief and trust in God. Number numero two, propose 4 ways in which Wilson needs to be supported to remain faithful to God. Number numero three, with a specific example from the Bible, suggest what you can do to help Wilson. And the last one, write a prayer of worship that Wilson can use in such circumstances.
Okay, thank you. So here they requested the learner to get those outputs. So here in the teacher's guide, they even give guidance to the teacher. The learner should be able to do this as in the video, should read the scenario, should use the Bible as a reference, and then come up with a prayer. And this is the evaluation grid. So here they had 4 bases. In this case of CRE, they asked you 4 Roman numerals. So each Roman numeral came as a basis. The first basis is explanation of what the farmer's reaction would be in relation to the belief of God. So when it comes to relevancy, they are saying that you score 3 if the learner writes a detailed explanation with relevant example and trust in God. For example, if the learner gives example of Job, if the learner gives a detailed explanation relevant to the belief in trust of God, but there's no example. And also, if she writes a basic explanation in relation to belief in trust in God. So you see here how they are varying the relevancy. So you can look at this. How is the explanation coming out? Is it even having rich example? Then that will be more relevant. Then when it comes to accuracy, if the information in the explanation is accurate in relation to the knowledge of worship, they may have given a detailed explanation, but when there are some inaccuracies in the explanation. And if the explanation is accurate based on the knowledge of worship, so here it is at level 2. Then if the information is basic, so you can be able to look at that. Then it comes to coherence, they looked at how orderly the presentation is in line with the situation. And you look at orderliness at level 2 and also orderliness at level 1. So there's no case where we give a learner 0. Even if a learner has written very irrelevant work, that will mean level 1. So this is level 3, that is the good, the medium, and the low. So, and if the learner does something solicited, then when it comes to the second basis, proposals on which lesson will be supported, here they looked at if a learner gives the right 3 well-explained proposals, if a learner gives 2, and if a learner gives 1. And here we look at the accuracy of those proposals, and then here the logical flow or the order of priority. So you want to tell this person, giving him advice, maybe, but you are starting with the one who's less priority. What should, for example, if someone gets an accident, the first aid should be the first proposal before rushing the person to hospital. So if a learner rush the person to hospital and then give first aid last, these 3 points are all expected. I would give the 3 points for having been raised. But when it comes to coherence, I will cross because he has mentioned what is not supposed to come first. So coherence is to do with the logical flow. Then also for the Bible, they looked at also in it also. And then when it comes to the prayer, they also looked at how the prayer flows, whether the prayer is relevant, And here, the content of the prayer is accurate with the teachings on worship. And also, you see in prayer, they normally say teaching in worship. For example, in CRE, you have to pray maybe through Jesus Christ. You have to end like that. So you have to look at some of these things. And there is a very important comment down here. As I hand over to you, Mr. Mutiaba. I want to get someone to read for us this. Mr. James Okwera, are you able to read for us? Or Rashida?
The total scores available for each task is 9. There are 4 tasks times 9 equals 36. There is an additional 1 score awarded for excellence. The whole activity is scored out of 37. The learner will be considered to have passed if she attains 2 out of 3 of the total scores available.
Okay, thank you very much. So members, you go to the website of NCDC and download the teacher's books. This one is also there, and read more of those other activities in that book, which are there. Mr. Mutiaba, please share your screen and we wrap up with that part and we go to scoring, to recording learner achievement, because of time.
Yes, members, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Mukalele, for that elaborative supplement. I appreciate. I believe members, we are appreciating this, and we are seeing where we are going sincerely. I want to thank Roger once again for bringing in also that element of assessment from the recent book, that is CRE, the recent book, because we had encountered so many questions to do with how about these questions of theory, how are they going to be, how can I generate an output from this kind of stuff? You have seen that a question has come and has been subjected to the 3 levels in the same way, and it has been subjected to the rest in the same way, and the judgment has been left in the hands of the teacher to check as to whether what the learner is giving is really a prayer, a logical prayer, an accurate prayer, or a logical solution. Still, you have all the rights to judge the learners, but within the yardsticks. I believe members, we are appreciating this. I've liked so much that kind of improvement from these recent books. I want to appreciate it. So I don't want to add more words on that because it was very, very clear. I want to thank him once again. So just allow me to take you right away to the reporting, because time has gone. That is reporting and achievement. I want to do chap, and then we wind up. Kindly be patient with me. Reporting. Now, after having our activity of integration, and we have scored it, we have generated an evaluation grid, and we have the marks. Let me use the previous one. Let me use the previous note here, down here, the one that you have just read. It is showing us that that activity was out of 24. It was out of 37. If you add 37, okay. Okay, 37. So now I want to begin from that very note, and we explain, we learn, we share more experience about the reporting. How do we report? Very fast. The summary, and we are saying that we are saying that an evaluation grid is key for the end of topic assessment of the learners. That's the summary session. It is a key. You must give it. It is important to have basis of evaluation for the outputs. I believe that when we consent to it. Then the basis for evaluation can be 1 or more depending on the expected, output expected. So it can be 2 or more. It can be 1 or more depending on expected output. Then for each output, there must be a descriptor. Please take note of this. There must be a descriptor for each output of learners' achievement at the 3 levels in terms of relevance, accuracy, and coherence. There must be a descriptor at the 3 levels, as you're going to see. Then for each activity of integration, the outstanding learner is described once in the excellency column. That one, Mr. Mukare talked about it. I also hinted on it, and I believe it is well. Like as you have seen from the previous activity of CRE, you award learners all that once an excellency mark. Don't come to the worship side giving how he has given the prayer and then you give a mark of excellence. Then you come to the way he has given, he has arranged the solution. Then you give it, no. You give it once in an activity of integration. You award excellence mark once. That's why we have only 1 column for it. Then the other one, the learner, the description of learner's achievement is based on evaluation grade. So you judge the learner's achievement basing on evaluation grade, members. We base on evaluation grid. Unlike the previous curriculum where we had a marking guide, after marking, yes, you give, and then you wait for something else. And then here we are basing on the evaluation grid period, as you're going to see. Okay. Now under this, we are going to look at 1, by the end of this session, participants should be able to identify what to record about learner achievement and when to record it, compute learners' assessment scores, interpret learners' assessment records, and report number 4, report learners' achievement. Members, from our basic trainings, the trainings that we have had before, physical trainings, sincerely speaking, this has been almost ever the last, the hardest bit of, this curriculum.
And I told them to bring their calculators.
Yes, thank you so much. It is disturbing teachers a bit from the trainings that I've at least handled so far. You find that teachers have so many questions. They have so many, they have so many discussions, hot discussions. So that's why we want us to go slow, but sure, in the interest of time. So,
and
this, yes, sir.
I want to request the teachers, normally in the new curriculums, after a training like that, we normally have a nice break where they jump a bit.
Yes.
So I want you to just give 1 minute. You first stop sharing. I want them to turn on their camera and I want to see if they can be able to do some jumping. Within 1 minute, let me be the first. So members, what you do, you turn on your camera and you try to jump. It's time for some exercise.
Let me give them an energizer. I give them.
You have to give an energizer.
Yes, let me give you an energizer.
I can see.
Okay.
You try to jump.
Mathematics. Rogers, here mathematics.
Yes.
1. Raise up your hand. 1.
Please turn on your camera. And we see you.
1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Then 2.
Okay.
2 is equal is equal to 4. 4, my leg is like, you can't see it. 4. Then you 4, let me show you my 4. Then 4 plus 4 is equal to 8. 8.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Okumu. I can see Mr. Okumu has been seriously. Mr. Okumu has been seriously. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, members.
Okay, you can now proceed.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I guess you can see my screen once again. Am I sharing the right stuff? Okay. You can see my screen once again. And I'm saying that these are the session outcomes. And I was saying that we are going to learn how to compute, identify. Okay, identifying what to record, computing learners' records. And when to record it, compute learners' assessment scores, interpret the assessment records. Let's go to slide number next. Introduction. Here we are seeing, I want to take you to this. If you check in your syllabus.
Press enter again. You
Sorry?
press enter. You press enter again. Another word will come.
Okay. At the back of the syllabus books, there is a section on record keeping. So every syllabus book has this component here. They are showing you how you can carry out the record keeping. Record keeping, we mean how you can keep on generating the marks from the assessment grids. I mean, from the activity of integration, you score them, and then how you can take note of the records. So that page is ever there. Page 34, it can be 34, 35, 36, based on the size of your book, but at least around there. It's called record keeping. That page is ever there. So please take time, you go through it so that you learn more about it. It shows you the descriptors, the outcomes, learning outcomes, some learning outcomes, all learning outcomes achieved with ease, and what it means, as we're going to see. NB, the NCDC made amendments in the descriptors and left 3 descriptors. And left only 3 descriptors, as we shall see during this session. They left 3 descriptors as opposed to the 4 that first came out. Kindly note that. And we are saying here that what to record about the learner achievement and when. We are saying that in every topic, assess the activity of integration. Members, now take note of that. We assess the activity of integration at the end of every topic, not at the end of the term. Like the case with the previous curriculum. No. Every topic, you can be having like 2 topics or 3 topics in the term. You make sure you, at the end of the term, you must have given at least the 3 activities of integration. Now, in this case, an activity of integration is checkpoint for measuring the level of learner achievement in the chapter in line with the competency. Please take note of that. We are checking for the competency from the learners at the end of that topic. Please, at the end of that topic, not at the end of the term, at the end of the topic, not in the middle of the term. No. That's why you never have a uniform day when to give an activity of integration. No. The CRE could be giving it this week, maybe in the afternoon, maybe it could be physics, maybe after 4 days, it could be mathematics, after, just like that, because you've got different coverages, different size of the topics, different whatever and whatever, as you know. Is it true that an activity of integration? Yes.
In that also, what I want to tell you there, to supplement that, is that for some chapters which are long, for example, in CRE, they could be having like 10 learning outcomes. So what they do, it may be hard for all those learning outcomes to fit in one activity. So they can teach like up to 6 of them. They give an activity at that point. So it is a checkpoint for measuring the level, the achievement at that point. Then they can put another one at the end. So you can have like 2 activities of integration in a chapter. When one is covering 6 learning outcomes, then the other last one covers the other 4.
Okay.
Yeah, this is very good, especially for long chapters where you can't squeeze all the learning outcomes in one activity of integration.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for that supplement. Let me ask you, Mr. Nyango, is it true that an activity of integration encompasses all the learning outcomes in the topic? Yes or no? Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
I believe the activity of integration does not cover all what we have learned in a topic, but a topic may have more than one activity of integration. What we have in the book might be is given as a sample, but you can generate as many as possible to cover all the learning outcomes in that topic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I believe you have got it. That's what Mr. Mukale was explaining. That you can break, for those who have topics that are too large, you can break it. And then you give like more than 1, 2, 3 activities of integration to cover all the learning outcomes at the end of the topic. So that it is not true that activity of integration to have all learning outcomes in the topic. You can have some learning outcomes, but then at the end of the day, you will have a summative of all of them. Then how many activities of integration does a chapter have? I'm asking Rashida Edris. Hey. Rashida, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. How many activities of integration does the chapter have?
1.
Great.
Yes, 1.
Great. Should be 1. Should be 1. Should be 1. Should be 1. How about the case, Rashid? I'm still asking, how about in the circumstance where I've given more than 1 activity of integration? How do I equate it to 1?
You calculate, I think. You compute the marks.
Jeremy, can you clarify on that?
Okay, I think if you give more than 1 activities of integration, you total up the marks achieved by the learner, and then you divide by the total number of marks that those activities are supposed to sum up, and you multiply by 10, which is the maximum for each activity.
Oh, Jerome. Okay, thank you so much. You have taken us far. Okay, thank you so much. Now, one thing you should note, if you give more than 1 activity of integration in a chapter, just make sure you get the average. You sum up all of them, and then you get the average mark. Are we together? I've given my activity of integration, the first one, it was out of 10. And I give another one, it is out of what? Maybe out of, okay, it's also out of 10. Then the learner, then I gauge. Now, if it is out of 10, I get the average. I add up the marks out of the total activity scores. Out of the total activity scores, I get what the learner could have scored out of the total activity score, and then I get the average mark. Yes, sir.
And you see, like even as I was saying earlier, an activity, a chapter, ideally, which is supposed to have 1 activity of integration. If you can be able to make 1 activity which can encompass all the learning outcomes and they are integrated, it would be good to have 1. But for cases where it is not, you can have more than one. So a chapter can have one or more activities of integration. And as we are going to proceed, let us not disturb ourselves now. We are going to see that in the calculations which are coming up. How you, in case you have more than one, what do you do?
Okay. How many activities of integration? Thank you so much. How many activities of integration can be done in a term? It depends on the number of chapters that you have in the term and in that topic. I mean, in that subject. Physics, I could be having 3. Then I'll have 3 activities of integration from the 3 chapters. Geography, I could be having 5. Or I could be having 1 in ICT. You will have to give 1 activity of integration. Do all activities of integration carry equal maximum scores? Yes, no. Do all activities of integration have maximum score? Yes, no. Wanyoto, Minster, Wanyoto.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Wanyoto, you are telling us the answer. Do all activities carry equal marks?
Yes, to me, all activities
Someone
carry
has
equal
put up
marks
his
because
hand.
you first.
Jackson?
Yes, the one who's putting up the hand.
Can I speak?
Yes.
Yes, please. Not all activities of integration carry the same mark. It will be that are there. You might find one activity of integration has 1 basis of evaluation, then another might have 2, another might have 3, so they can't carry the same mark.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Next. When do we record learner achievement? When do we record learner achievement? You can use the chat to answer, or you can raise up your hand. When do we record learner achievement?
Isabirie. Sulaiman.
Members, we are sorry to ask you these questions because this is the competence-based. It is not the first letter to keep on telling, every answer, giving out every answer. It is the answers should come basically from the learners, and then for us, we just fine tune.
Mr. Sendegea?
Yes,
we record at the end of every chapter.
Okay. We record at the end of every chapter. Thank you so much. For what purpose are the achievement records?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Wanyoto, as well. Mr. Bogere?
Yes, sir. 1, to assess the learner's achievement in the learning process. And then 2, for record continuous guidance on performance or achievement factors, which record may also be required by the Ministry of Education and whatever.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, maybe to add on that.
Yes, Mr. Mkaleli.
At the end of the term, you want to show performance to the parents, how the learners have. So those records will be important. And also for UNEB, in the new curriculum, we are going to be submitting coursework to UNEB. So it is important to
the 20%.
The 20%.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay. All right. If we go back to the computing learner assessment score based on identifiers. Please note this, that have the output. You remember this, have the output, the basis for evaluation, the race. And then I'm saying here, bullet here, an activity of integration can be scored out of 10, 19, 28. Why don't you think so? Why do you think so? What brings this deviation that the scores of activity of integration can be out of 10, out of 19, out of 28? Requesting Edith. Why do you think so or don't think so? Edith? Hey, Edith, are you there? Okay, Madam, sorry, Rashida. Okay, Rashida.
Hillary.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, Katsime is raising up the hand.
Mr. Is there again. It is going to be out of 10 if you have one basis of evaluation. Then it will be out of 19 if I think there are 2 of them. It would have been 20, but the guiding factor here is that for excellence, it was 1 mark.
Right.
So when the basis of evaluation are 2, it will be 19. Then I think if it is going to be 3, it will be at 28, like that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I guess that one is clear to everyone, It depends on the basis that you have for evaluation in the activity.
And Mr. Mtiava?
Yes, Mr. Mkaleli.
One rule which I found there, I used the multiplication table of 9, omulundi ogw'omwenda plus 1. So 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, I keep adding 1. Omulundi ogw'omwenda, that is the multiplication table of 9 plus 1. Those are the possible scores. So if it is 1 basis, it is the 1 times 9 plus 1. So 9 plus 1 is 10. 18 plus 1 is 19. 27 plus 1 is 28. So the next one there should be 30 what? 37. Because that is 36 plus 1. Okay.
Mr. Nyang, have you got that trick? Mr. Nyang, we have to ask.
Yes, I have got the trick. I have got
all right. All right. Let us proceed. Okay, let's proceed. Thank you so much, Mr. Mkaleli, for that trick. So now, Max, let us look at the matrix showing possibilities in an evaluation grid. For example, output 1. If we have output 1, basis of evaluation, we have A, like as you have seen from CRE, we're expecting a solution, expecting a prayer, now basis A, basis B, basis C, etc. Now, under relevancy, we shall have 3, 3, 3. If you add here, it is 3. It is 9. If it was only 1 basis, it would have been 9 plus 1. Then that would be 10. Like as we have explained, I don't need to go through all of them. Now, let us look at this. Computing learners' achievement, we are still looking at how to compute learners' achievement or assessment scores based on descriptors. Now, for an activity of integration, I scored out of 10, 19, 28, etc. And I'm saying bullet number 2. For an activity, for one activity of integration, e.g., 20, if the learner scored 20 out of 28, you scale down to a maximum of 3. Members, what do I mean? Here, I want to bring the learner's achievement from the scores in the table to the descriptors. Like as you remember from your, I always give this example from your colleges or your universities. They used to compute all that we could achieve, and then they could calculate it and convert it to the levels. Maybe if the classes, maybe first class, second upper, second lower, flat. So now here, what the learner could have scored from the activity out of 28, the one that has maybe 3 bases of evaluation, the learner could have scored 20. And now we are scaling it down to a maximum of 3, which is the maximum descriptor. And we are saying that base key is 2. If the learner gets base key 2, base key is 1, then 2 for moderate, then 3 for accomplished. And now, can we pull out our calculators? Mr. Mkaya told you to come with the calculators, and he thought it was a joke. This is the time we have to use our calculators now. Can someone calculate Rashida? Madam, can you calculate for me 20 out of out of 28 and scale it down to 3? How many? How many do we get? Rashida, is Rashida there? Mr. Isabidi, do you have your calculator, sir? And Mr. Sulaiman, can you calculate for me 20 out of 28 and scale it down to 3?
It's 2.14.
Yes, great, 2.14. So we get 2.14. Now, where does this member falls? All eyes?
Moderate.
Above 2, which means is moderate learner, as we are going to see. Now,
yes.
Plan number 3 here, we are saying that for topics with more than one activity of integration, get totals and then scale them down. For example, like the one that we said, whereby you have given an activity of integration. Yes, for more than one activity of integration, you get one. It was the first one was out of 10, x out of 10. The second one was y out of 19. Then you add the x and the y out of 28. Okay, then you scale them down to 3. For example, if we take, e.g., if we consider an activity of integration 1 to be the learner to have scored 7 out of 10. Then for activity of integration 2, learner to have scored 13, it will be 7 plus 13 to be 20 out of the total, which is 29. Then we shall have to scale it down to a maximum of 3. So we shall get 20. Mr. Jerome, can you help us here? 20 out of 29 times 3. Can we get that? I think we already have the answer, isn't it?
Okay, I'm doing it, sir.
Yes, 20 out of 29, scale down to 3. Yes, Mr. Sendegeya, you are raising up your hand.
It is 2.06.
2.06. Sure. 2.07. 2.07.
Yeah, you
okay.
can round off that.
So you round off to 1 decimal place. And we are saying, please, we are emphasizing this. Round off to 1 decimal place. Ever round off to 1 decimal place, not 2 decimal places, 1 decimal place. That's why we are getting 2.1. The rest, ignore what? It should be rounded off to 1 decimal place. Members, are we all there? Do we have anyone who's stuck on this? Who's stuck somewhere about this? We are all okay. Great. And here we are saying that if it is 7, okay, out of 10, you know, 7 plus 13 out of 19, then we shall get 7 plus 13, then it will be 20 out of 29. NB, don't use LCM method, just add numerator and denominator. Members, here you should take note of it, that we add numerator and denominator. Numerator and denominator. Numerator, we shall add the 7 plus 13, and so don't use LCM, then you go ahead and put LCM. We look for LCM of 10 and 19. Just simply add the numerator up there and then you do it. Okay, recording assessment scores. Assuming learner B has scores, let me be quick a bit. Assuming learner B has scores 18 out of 19, that is 2.8. Learner C, 2.2. Chapter 2, from chapter 2 is 2.2. From chapter 3 is 20 out of 28, which is 2.1. Record accordingly as shown. Now, if it comes to your mark sheet, ladies and gentlemen, here, what we are going to do now from your score sheet, you're going to put that learner's name, for example, Mutiaba Daniel. Chapter 1, I've scored 2.8. Chapter 2, I've scored 2.2. Chapter 3, 2.1. Then This will be the record sheet for all the learners. This is your sample learner, learner B. Okay. Then at the end of the day or at the end of the year, it can be a year or a term, you'll be having all the records for all the chapters, and for all the learners at the end of the year or the term. You use the other method that you have been using, you keep on scaling and then you know. You keep on scaling and then you know. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to still emphasize this. Please don't wait for the end of the year and say, me, I do not even bother with these things. Let me just teach. And at the end of the year, I'll just give out, I'll keep on giving out the activities of integration. Please don't do that. You've got to check on learners' achievement at the end of every topic. If you see that the learner is still missing something, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to organize some remedial. Then to help that learner come up to help that learner, be boosted to catch up with the rest of the learners. And then after giving the remedial, you were able to take the learner to the next step, which is the next chapter. Because remember, these topics are built in such a way that if the learner fails to pick chapter 1, chapter 2, it will be very hard for such a learner to be having a better score in the subsequent chapters. That's why it is advisable for you to keep going back. For those particular learners that you would have seen that could have not scored well, for example, at basic level, organize some remedial. However much the remedial may not change the original mark in the score sheet like the way you see it on the screen. But you help them by giving them a remedial, which remedial can help them go back and revisit what they are all to have had or to have learned, and then they are able to come and do this assessment to enable them be helped in that regard. Then at the end of the day, you're going to have this, and the interpretation is, what interpretation can you get? Can you, the teacher, make out of the learners that above? Let me get the interpretation from Mr. Mwonge. Mr. Mwonge, you're welcome. I can see here, I've not been seeing you. Yes, Mr. Mwonge, can you give us an interpretation as I'm winding up? I'm using more 3 minutes or 2. Mr. Mwonge. Okay, Mr. Isabi or Sulaiman. Mr. Wanyoto? Yes, Mr. Isabi, yes.
Oh, yes. The interpretation that I can give of these learners from learner A to learner F, it will be based on their various scores. The various scores, for example, for each of the chapters that have been in the term. So just like I can see here, according to some learners, you can see that some learners in some chapters they were performing, their performance was not very good, but it went on improving. And then when you look at some other learners like learner, for example, learner D, his performance or her performance in the first chapters was quite good. However, it went on deteriorating as we were progressing with the term or the year. That is the interpretation that I can give.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wanyoto. And the other interpretation is the learner could be weak in some areas, like the way you see learner A. Let's look at learner A. This is chapter 6 and 7. You see that in chapter 3 was not so good. Chapter 4, but now we are seeing chapter 6. We are seeing a level, the maximum level actually. But then at a given level, which is chapter 8, it declines a bit. Meaning learners can pick or can have their best areas of interest and their best areas where they exhibit the highest level of competence. That's why it is ever good to give out the activity of integration, and at the end of the day, not to make a subjective judgment. These learners cannot be able to do something good. That is the interpretation that I can get. We can see even these ones that have 1-1, they have at least a 3 somewhere, like learner E. So that is it, dear friends. And at the end of the day, reporting the learner achievement using these scriptures. When do we report and how? End of term report. Yeah,
maybe Mr. Mutiaba?
Yes.
Yeah, I see we are about to conclude, a few slides left. Yeah, so members, we have looked at, maybe you just first go to the other slide, just a second, the previous slide. We have looked at how to compute a chapter, to record those marks at chapter level. So for example, we saw chapter 1 or chapter 2. If we have 3 activities of integration, you add up, you make a denominator, and then you scale it to out of 3, and then you get that figure which we put in that table and we record. And we have seen that you can be able to see the trend, whether the learner is improving, or the learner is stagnant, or the learner is deteriorating. Now, on the next slide, Mr. Mutiaba, go to the next slide. So on the next slide, when you are, how are you going to report to the parents? End of term report card. How are you going to see in the old curriculum, the report card, we were putting the average of the marks, and you were putting the position number 1, number 2, this is the best, this one gets a bursary. But here in the new curriculum, we are looking at each learner individually. So we have to just see which range this learner is in, which is he in. We have again to compute, to see the learner, which level this learner is in. So we have this section here where we compute the average of the chapters, and then we can be able to see which level this learner is. So so here we have a range. The first range is from 0.1 up to 1.4. So where is this point coming from? It is coming from the average from the previous table, the average of the chapters.
Yes.
So if you get, for example, you have 4 chapters, or you have 3 chapters you have covered in no, this table, the other side, the table that we have just come from. You just go, for example, this table here. For example, if in one term you covered maybe these chapters, here it is showing many chapters. If you cover those chapters, so you can be able to get the average of those chapters, and then in the next, and then you can be able to see, okay, if the average falls from 0 up to 1.4, then you can be able to say that, okay, this learner has achieved a few competences, is in level 1. Then if it falls between 1.5 to 2.4, that is level 2. And if the learner's average of the chapter scores is in 2.5 to 3.0, then that learner is in level 3. So on your report card now, what you are going to do, you have to give comments qualitatively. You have to give comments qualitatively. I saw whether there's someone there are some who have designed the software for making reports for the new curriculum, and they have some formats. So the report cards are going to go back to the way how we used to do the nursery. You have to put comments, tell them that this chapter, the learner is at level 3. He has the difficulties in this area. In this chapter, the learner is okay. He has got the learning outcomes, and he's in this level. So he needs, is at level 1, level 2, or level 3. Yeah, level 1 needs support and improvement. Level 2, level 3 is good, something like that. Yeah, so at the end of the year, you will have to compute the 20% to be sent to UNEB. How do you do it? You add, if there were 10 chapters, like in this case, so the total should be out of 20, out of 30, in case there are 10 chapters. And you add what the learner has got, then you divide by 20, divide by 30, which is the total for the chapter, and then you convert that later up to, out of 20, because UNEB needs 20.
For example,
so in this case,
for example, now if we let us use sample learner here, let us add the 3 plus C. Someone should use the calculator very fast there. 3 plus 2.7 plus 2.2 plus 2.8 plus 2.9 plus 6 plus 2 plus 6, which means it's going to get 27 out of 27 out of, so we shall put 27 out of 30. 27 out of 30. Out of 30. So now if we get 20, this 27 times 20, so we shall say times 20. So we shall get equals, so that one out of 30 times 20. So the learner would have scored, this learner would have scored 18.4. 18.4. This one is out of 20. This one. So this will be the answer here. This mark, this something here. This 3 here is not included here. Please ignore it. So that is what we are going to have at the end of the day. So that is it.
And these marks are to be sent to UNEB every year, not at senior 4. They are supposed to be sent to UNEB at the end of each class there. So there's something known as learn identification. Mr. Sendege has a question.
Yes,
There's
yes.
someone.
Mr. Sendege, please have it. Ask.
I just forgot to lower down my hand. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. It's okay.
So here they are saying that ICT will be used to deliver the record sheet to the assessment body. What they mean here is that UNEB has what called school portals, where normally results come from, where you normally do the UNEB registration, where you submit the data for, and then where you download your results as a school. So it's through that platform, through the school portal, you'll be submitting these spreadsheets with these results, and the learner identification numbers will be used. So these ones are like the index numbers which are going to be issued at senior 1. We shall no longer be issuing these index numbers at senior 4. No, senior 1. So learners will continue with that lien. In case the learner changes a school, then he goes to another school with the same lien. And if he did senior 1 here, next year he goes to another school, you just use the same lien, and they will submit his results for senior 2 from another school. So that is going to be able to track the learners. Yeah.
So members, thank you. That is this chapter summary. Identified what to record about learner achievement and when to record it. We are aware now about this. Completed learners assessment scores. We know how to do it. Then interpreted learners assessment records. We are able now to interpret. We are able to interpret the assessment scores. We are able to interpret that. And then reported the learners achievement, how to report learners achievement, we are able to do it. So I want to really appreciate, and our last slide here is that. So
maybe
Mr. Mukayo, I can invite you to talk about that. And I want to appreciate you members for being so attentive and being patient in this regard. Thank you for loving NCDC. Thank you for loving your country. Despite the fact that we are in the lockdown, teachers have not been cared for in any way, but we still have a zeal, even injecting in some small resources, you know, to build your capacity. Please don't give up on this. You know, this is our calling. You know, teaching is the calling, the passion within. So I want to appreciate you, and I pray that you keep on that zeal, keep it up, and I believe God will reward us more than we expect. Let me welcome Mr. Mukalele for some comments here.
Okay. Yeah, members, a round of applause to our facilitator, the facilitator of the day. You can be able to give him a clap for today's session. As we are wrapping up today's session, I'm going to share with you this assignment. I don't know whether you're able to see my screen. Mr. Mutiaba, are you seeing my screen?
I'm seeing it. I don't know whether it's mine or yours because I'm seeing it is having Google Classroom codes.
Okay. Yeah, I think you are seeing mine.
Yes, I can see it is yours.
Yeah, so members, one, we have a Google Classroom that we use. Members who don't know the Google Classroom, please, you search an app called the Google Classroom on Play Store. You install, the way you installed WhatsApp, it will ask you for a code and you put in this code PMCRAVZ. You'll be able to find all the materials that we have been putting. So we gave you an assignment. That was an assignment that we gave on this Google Classroom. It was an assignment on day 2. We gave you an assignment on day 2. We gave it early enough. We are going to be using that tomorrow as we wrap up. The assignment was about ICT integration. And we told you to create a PowerPoint lesson of a topic of your choice. That is what we told you. A topic of your choice, go to your syllabus book and make a PowerPoint lesson. I want to thank people here. Mr. Jerome Halemimana, he has done some good work. Mr. Jerome, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the great work. Okay, so I've seen Mr. Jerome's work. He has done some lesson in, I think, in chemistry. Then also Mr. Luaga Simon, he has done in CRE. Other teachers who are just coming to attend the Zoom and you don't want to do work, then you are going to be passive in terms of what you are learning. Mr. Luaga Simon has done a lesson in CRE. I've seen Mr. Mark Onyango, who has done something in physics. I've seen Madame Rehema Lutalo, who has done, I think, it is CRE, history, I think history. Madame Rehema. So they are here. They have done. They have also seen Mr. Wanyoto Julius, who has done something in one of those sub-subjects. So we asked you to use quite a lesson in PowerPoint and then be able to submit it. You can use ICT integration, put in illustrations, put activity. Just choose any lesson from the learner's book. Look for a learner's book. Prepare a lesson of like one period, or actually can be like 20 minutes, something brief. Okay, so tomorrow we are going to be wrapping up with our training, and we are going to give you a chance to do a demo lesson. We have some learners, by the way, we might even invite learners and we do breakaway sessions. So please, Mr. Jerome, Mr. Luaga Simon, Mr. Onyango, Madame Rehema, and others who are going to submit, please come ready tomorrow with the data and you log in with the laptop ready to teach. We are going to be looking at lesson plan, scheme of work, and demo lessons as we shall be wrapping up tomorrow with our training. The training has been on for 6 days. Tomorrow is the 7th day. And we want to thank the over 160 teachers who have been on this call, who have been attending these sessions. The sessions have been running since 1st December. We had a break. We have resumed it today, 13th. And then tomorrow tomorrow will be 14th. We shall be wrapping up our training with scheme of work, lesson plan, and preparation for teaching. And we are going to be having demo lessons. We want you to show you to see that you have learned how to teach the CBC. This time we are using Zoom because it has been our delivery method. Mr. Jerome, are you ready? And other members, are you ready tomorrow to come and do some demo lessons?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are ready.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll be glad. Now, there is some news. There is some news here. As we are doing this training, tomorrow, 14th actually, there is a new curriculum training which is going to be starting, physical. NCDC is continuing to train teachers. This time, last year they were training senior 1 senior 2 teachers, and now they are training senior 3. As you all know, by the way, senior 3 books, they are on the website, you're only seeing senior 1, but senior 3 books are also ready and they have been vetted. So they are going to be training. Personally, I'm also going to be reporting. I'm going to be in Bishop Willis Uganda. I've been invited by NCDC. I'll be facilitating physical training for 4 days. And are there any members here who have been invited? This is an invite-only workshop. You just go there without, when you are not invited, you may not be admitted. You are supposed to be invited through your head teacher. Each school is supposed to send teachers. There are many centers, by the way, and this time they are going to be in PTCs, because I think the secondary schools are closed. It is PTCs which are hosting. So I've seen Chibuli, Koa PTC, many PTCs. I've seen the list of teachers who are of places. Any members here who have been invited? Can unmute and tell me I've been invited, I'm going this way. Anyone?
We are just seeing the invite on WhatsApp.
I also received the invitation via WhatsApp. However, the school was not invited.
Okay. Okay. So yeah,
I have the invitation letter. However, that space where the school, that blank space wasn't filled. So who's supposed to fill the training ground?
Okay. So yeah, you should not be left unaware. A physical experience is also good, and this time it will be focusing on senior 3, not senior 1, which we have been looking at here. So personally, I'm glad I'll be in Uganda, and I'm actually going to be reporting there tomorrow. So we want to thank you very much, members, for supporting this. We are the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda, and we are being supported by senior1.org, which is an online platform which has been teaching in senior 1 during this period of lockdown, and plans to continue engaging them even when schools open. They can find the activities, they can be supporting them. And also Zoom provided us the license free. We never paid Zoom money. Zoom saw that ICT teachers, we are doing some good work. They gave us a free license. And also we have a company called ProAvi. They sell e-learning equipment. They sell tablets, they sell what? So they also supported us to have this training. Let us join tomorrow as we wrap up. The online workshop is closing, and the physical will be starting on Wednesday for those who will be there. I want to wish you a very nice evening. If you have any feedback, you have it. It is night time already here. If you have any feedback or comment, I give you a minute. You can say that, and then.
Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
What are the other training centers?
What are the other training centers? That is your question, eh?
Yes, please, for the 14th, because I received a very long list of training grounds, but not specified.
The training centers are many, like I said, and like I said, they are invite only. That is the model, because there is finance involved. So yeah, but there are quite many, and they are mainly PTCs. I have also the list. I have the list. So they are basically in your regions, in several regions. Maybe there could be issues because some teachers maybe could not be aware and maybe they miss out. Yeah, but this is something that you should be able to look out for. Are you hearing me? I think. Hello?
I can hear you clearly.
Hey, okay. So yeah, let me share with you here. Let me just share with you just for information purposes, since I brought it up. Yeah, this is what I came up with. This is what I saw. I saw. You seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so this Chibuli, Sancta Maria, Shimoni, Nakaseke, Ndigeya PTC, UTC Nyamalolo, there are many. Muni NTC, NTC Kaliro, Bishop Willis. So for me, I'll be in Bishop Willis. That's why I've been invited. Soroti. So all those centers are going to be doing trainings according to the information.
What are the numbers for the 5?
Those are numbers of invited, of the planned number of people, invited people who are supposed to be in those places. They are looking at government and private and the facilitators.
Okay.
Have I answered your question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope there's no other comment. Let us meet tomorrow. Let us get someone to give us a closing prayer. Wanyoto, NCDC does not give certificates. In all the trainings they have been giving, I've never seen any place where they give certificates. Even us, we are not going to give. What the knowledge that you get is what you're supposed to use. You see, competency, not paper-based. You may give you a certificate when you have not learned how to calculate the figures, and then you go and you present somewhere that I learned the curriculum. So what is going to, your certificate will be your knowledge, and it is what is going to market you out there. Even us, the master trainers, we don't have any certificate. So yeah, that is the question you were asking in the chat. I hope I've answered you. Let us get someone to give us a closing prayer.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for such a wonderful day that you have made. We pray that as we depart, Lord, may your spirit go with us. We thank you for the team. We thank you for Rogers. And we thank you for all the knowledge that has been shared, Lord. We pray that we continue to share it and as well be able to implement it, Lord. We dedicate this night in your hands and we pray that, Lord, may you take us through it successfully. Bless everyone on the call and those who have not been able to make it, that they should be able to make it tomorrow. In your name I've prayed and everyone says, Amen.
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 Amen. Bye, 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 bye.
Bye.
Have a nice evening. Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Rogers, I've sent you a chat.
Bye. Mr. Mutiaba, you close.